What's up, my wild ones? I'm back with a new video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Taryn. I'm an ecologist and herpetologist, and besides my regular work, I like to make content that's reptile related in any way, shape or form. And in today's video, you're gonna meet the longest snake species in the entire world. And just a hint, it's not this one. This is just one angry forest cobra. I'm absolutely in love with forest cobras. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. And if you want to meet the longest snake species in the world, then please keep on watching. So guys, let me introduce you to Colin. Colin, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Colin. I started with snakes with my mom. We had little kooismanslangen.
What?
Garter snakes.
Yeah, garter snakes.
We started with garter snakes and we had a Brachypama smithii, that's a spider. And from there it started. And now I'm here with snakes from 5.5 meters.
Because you told me that your passion really started with dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs,
and
yeah.
I think that's something that we can all relate to as like reptile nerds and freaks. Like we all love dinosaurs, and you know that can spark the initial interest. And now we are here at Colin's collection and it is absolutely amazing. I am really surprised by the level of professionalism. Oh, hi baby. And I have a reticulated python on my lap and she is absolutely gorgeous. Look at her. So yeah, so that's how your passion started. And can you tell me a little bit about your collection? Like what do you mainly keep?
I mainly got reticulated pythons because I just like large snakes. And I recently started keeping venomous snakes. And
yeah, so he has a couple of forest cobras. I showed you one just in the introduction. That was the male. He's also got a female. There's a couple of spiders here. There's rattlesnakes. But most importantly, these gorgeous reticulated pythons. He also breeds them, which I think is really cool. We're going to take a look at that later. So yeah, I can't wait to show you around in this collection and hopefully teach you a little bit about what it is like to, you know, take care of snakes this big. So Colin keeps his snakes in the basement, which I think is really cool because you can lock it off. He's got small children, so they don't have access to this room. When you open the door, you get in. Hello!
welcome to the snake pit.
There's already a waste bin, which you need a lot when you keep reticulated pythons. And then basically what we see on this side is the retic part, right?
Yeah.
And then here we've got the venomous snakes, the soaking tubs. But let's start out with these cages. Can you tell me a little bit about how you designed them and how they work?
Well, I want them as big as possible because it's very large snakes. I want to have some moving space. They don't use it, but I want them to have it. Mm-hmm. They mainly soak in those huge tubs. So even the big snakes can go in completely.
And I love that. That is so important for any snake, but especially reticulated pythons. They like to soak and naturally they like to swim around a lot. Like they've even been spotted swimming at sea. So what Colin did is he put in like these children baths and every snake can fit in completely to soak and get the skin loose. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, here is where one reticulated python is laying, but he's got all of this space. And then there's a little hole in the actual wall. So the snake also has got all of this space. Now, Colin, can you tell me a little bit about what you use as substrate now?
Well, that's just cardboard board. And it's easy because if they pee, it's a lot.
Yeah.
If I use something like dirt or natural, if you got more, it's really hard to keep up.
That's true.
So it's not the way I want to keep them, but it's the best way to.
In this situation, it's the best option.
To keep them clean.
Yeah, but you told me that in your new snake room, because you're gonna move, you're gonna build new cages, and then you're gonna use soil, right?
Yeah.
And how does that work?
Well, I want to build in real tubs like we use.
Like human bathtubs, basically. Yeah.
So they can soak in there.
So they can soak in there, and then also you have the natural substrate, but because you have better access to the cages, you can get it out quicker.
I want the cages to be tall.
So you can stand in them.
Stand in them and shovel the shit out.
And then you can actually do the natural soil because it's easier to clean. In this setup, that's just much and much harder. So that's when the cardboard is just really easy. Every day Colin comes in to clean out like individual poops. And then once a week on Monday, he removes the cardboard and I get new cardboard.
And if you watch over there in the corner, you see a snake soaking.
So here you can see that they actually really use these tubs and they can fit in perfectly. I think that's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about the lock system that you have in place?
These are just rubber triangles. And you just squeeze it in there and the snake can't open them.
Because that's what retics like to do. Like sometimes they rub against the window and then it comes open, and this rubber absolutely prevents that. And then when it comes to the venomous snakes, he has a lock that only can be opened with a key, and then the keys are also stored in a safe, right?
Yeah, over there.
So the safe is right here, and yeah, this is especially because he has small children, so they can't just go in and grab the keys and, you know, work with venomous snakes. There are some rattlers down here, as you can see. Awesome. There is a forest cobra here that is a little bit on edge, so we're not going to bother her too much. And one way to give them a little bit more rest is to put up like a piece of wood or whatever you want, just to make sure that she doesn't get as much stimulation. And I love that there are hides here for the animals to hide in. So yeah, this is the main room. There are some arthropods in here. I think that's a very cool and unique setup. I've never seen that before.
Don't forget to drill a hole.
For air? Awesome. And yeah, so there is a heater here to keep the temperature in this room up. It's really hot in here. And then the individual cages also have their own heating lights. So yeah, this is the main snake room, and let's go to the other part. I love this. I think this is absolutely amazing. What we've got here, where is he? Is a little caiman, and I just have to, like Colin, I have to compliment you on this enclosure. I think that's absolutely amazing. There is a nice swimming room. Here is the little caiman. Hey, baby. There is room for the caiman to walk, and it just looks clean and fresh and crisp, and I just think that is so gorgeous. Now for the other snakes that are now soaking, you have a rack system. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's easy to clean as well, but it's a shame you put them away in a little tub, but for now, they grow so fast.
And for your new rooms, you plan to do something different, or do you want to also keep them in racks?
Well, those I think I'm gonna make that kind of system.
Yeah, so big enclosures.
To grow in.
That's awesome, that's great.
And when I move, I want just one big enclosure with shelters, and you can put them apart if you want to.
So yeah, this is where the caiman is housed, but in this part of the reptile room, there's also the nursery. Because as I told you, one of the retics had eggs. Was it one or two of the retics?
One.
1 red egg, and you've got
46 eggs.
46 eggs.
And 3 slugs.
And 3 slugs, so that's a really nice and decent litter. And I would love to show you how big reticulated python eggs actually are.
They're huge.
Oh wow, oh my word. That is insane.
Just compared to my hand.
They are like, you know, like dinosaur eggs. Like look at my hand and the eggs. Like they are humongous. Now, reticulated pythons, they are gravid or pregnant for about 3 months. And then the incubation time of the eggs is also roughly 3 months, right?
Yeah.
And you keep them in vermicelli, is this?
No, that's hatch right.
Okay, and that's you can easily keep it moist because that's very important for the eggs, right?
Yes, you have nothing to do with it. You just put it in, put the eggs in, and you're done.
That's awesome, and I love to see the structure on the eggs as well.
And I put a little dot on it because you can't rotate the eggs.
Yeah.
All the little snakes will drown.
Exactly. So let's really explain that quite well, because I know that with bird eggs that's actually different, but reptile eggs, it is crucial that you do not turn them. So if you find a clutch with a mom, you need to take the eggs out as you find them, mark the top of the egg, and make sure that you place it like that in your substrate or wherever you want to hatch the eggs. This is because when you turn the eggs, the embryo can detach and drown, like Colin just explained. So like just marking them is just an easy way to avoid that. So guys, they have been soaking for a couple of hours, so now it's time to transport all these babies back into their enclosures. This is not a venomous snake, but as I told you before, this is not really fun to get bitten by a snake like this, so let's hope it all goes well.
She's in shed as well.
Yeah, she's in shed.
And she's soaked, so she can shed very easily now. Yeah, she's pretty big. You don't see it that well, but
I have no arm muscles, so for me this is a real challenge. But I just love this snake. Let's get you back. Okay. Oops, sorry, baby. Get you a little bit dry.
they start to get a little bit big for in there. So it's time to...
So I'm trying to dry her off a little bit, just to make sure that her enclosure doesn't get soaked. Don't go up there. Ja.
En nu gaat ze vanzelf.
There we go. And the tail.
That's schitterend.
So this snake actually bit you like not too long ago.
Yeah.
Can you show me, like, this is the scar that he got from that snake. It's not even that massive, but the scar, and you can see like there's actual tissue damage.
Vul hem maar eens erin.
Yeah, so this is something that we wanted to show you guys. Some of the retics have quite some feistiness in them, especially when they're younger, right? They can be quite...
Yeah, they can be, and some males.
Yeah, and how do you deal with that as a retic keeper?
Normally I let him snap him once or twice. And then he knows there's nothing to snap at.
So guys, this is the longest snake species in the entire world. This is the reticulated python. Now this is a special morph, but usually in the wild you can see why they're called reticulated pythons, because they have a reticulated pattern on their back. They are by far the longest snake species in the world. The official record says around 7.5 meters. There are unofficial records that say that they can get much bigger. I'm not going to say whether that's true or not, but like 7.5 meters is already huge. And just take a look at how massive this snake is. It is incredible. Now usually when I say non-venomous constrictor, so a snake that has no venom and kills its prey with constriction, I say that they are harmless. That does not go for snakes this big. This snake is definitely not harmless. I cannot let it crawl over me without any control whatsoever, because if this snake bites me, I have a big problem. You know why? The teeth in the mouth of that huge head, the head is bigger than my hand, you guys. Her teeth are curved backwards, so when she holds on to your flesh, she rips apart your muscles, possibly your tendons, and if you're very unlucky, major arteries, and you can bleed to death. Now in the wild, these are true ambush predators. So now you might think, wow, what a bright pattern, and how can this snake live in the wild? When she is in the jungle on the forest floor, you won't see her. She will disappear. What she will do, she will sit and wait until a proper meal comes by. Now for a snake like this, that can be anything. That can be a giant rabbit, that can be a fully grown pig. Actually my grandfather, he grew up in the jungles of Indonesia, and he used to tell me stories of his pigs gone missing. And then a couple of days later, they would find a reticulated python with a huge bulge in their stomach. Well, that retic just ate their pigs. Now you can imagine, if they can eat a fully grown pig, they can eat a human. And that has actually, unfortunately, happened sometimes. Actually last year, a female in Indonesia, a human female, got eaten by a reticulated python, and when they cut open the stomach of the snake, you guess what came out? The woman came out of the stomach. So these snakes are not harmless. In my opinion, you always need to handle them with at least 2 people. Why? If you get grabbed by a snake this size, you can die, and you need someone else with you to unwrap you and to save you and to drive you to the hospital, because you're probably gonna have wounds that are not so funny. If you don't have a massive wound, they can also constrict you. Now what happens with constriction is not that you suffocate. What happens is that the blood basically cannot pump around in your body anymore, so your heart basically cannot work. That's how you die when you get constricted, and that unfortunately does happen. So yes, normally non-venomous snakes are harmless to people. When you get bit, you clean out your wound, you're fine. But when snakes get to this size, it's not like that. And you have to be very careful. But as you can see, she was really not that defensive. She was a really calm and, I would say, very kind snake. In the wild, if you see them, literally what you have to do is turn around and let them do their own snake business. They won't really come after you or anything. Unfortunately, there are some cases that are very rare where people get eaten, but usually when you just leave them alone, you're fine. I am in heaven. I absolutely love this experience. This snake was definitely 5 meters, possibly longer. We took a photo of me lying beside it that I will insert also in this video. And just imagine that I can even get a lot longer than this. In the wild, although they are not endangered, unfortunately they are hunted for both their skin as well as their meat, which is also used in traditional medicine. Yeah, I'm not too happy about that, of course, but like I said, gorgeous snakes, my first love, and I feel so blessed to have experienced this gorgeous snake. So thank you, Colin, also so much for that.